Welcome to Between the Beats. I'm Chaz, and I like to pop an extra one in once in a while to keep my head in the groove, and plus for very special guests. And that is today. Healthcare costs are rising, coverage is getting tighter, and many Americans are putting off routine checkups because of the cost. So, what can people do to protect their health when preventative care feels harder to access? Today, we're going to visit with Karen Howard, CEO and Executive Director of the Organic and Natural Health Association and author of Upset is Optional. She's here to talk about practical ways to support overall wellness, make smart choices about self care, and navigate supplements and nutrition more confidently. Good morning, Karen. How are you today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. So let's jump in with healthcare harder to access and routine checkups delayed. You're going to talk about some practical evidence-based strategies to help Americans navigate rising costs and protect their long-term wellness.
Yes.
Can you tell us the cost of skipping preventative care?
Well, we all know that nobody wants to even go to the gas station or the grocery store. So clearly we're not going to go to the doctor. It's all money. Our premiums are up, our deductibles are up. And so everybody wants to avoid spending. I'm right there with you. Long-term exposure to that can really put people who already have underlying healthcare conditions at severe jeopardy. But even those of us who consider ourselves really healthy need to figure out a way to be able to be self-sufficient around these issues. So what we do during the day, how we sleep, the foods that we do consume, are we indulging a bit too much in the processed foods, or in my case, chocolate? All those things tend to add up. So our conversation today is really about strategies that maybe you've heard them all your life, but now it's time to implement them.
Okay. So what are some of the main ones you would say for this?
We all have to eat well. We all have to get really good sleep, which is a challenge these days.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to stay hydrated. Those are the basics, and everybody knows that. So that's what I'm saying. If you can't sleep at night, don't watch TV right before bed. Stay off your computer before you go to bed. Don't put all your electronics beside your bed. Make your space calm.
Mm-hmm.
Take time before you go down, and make your rest as productive as possible, and really do pay attention closely to your diet. And if all of these things seem like they're really obvious and you're really doing that and you're on a new mission to really change your life, dietary supplementation is a really good way to go.
Okay, well, tell us about that and things like vitamin D, omega-3s, and especially magnesium. That's a big one for me before bed.
That is such a great way to go to sleep with magnesium. Now, the problem with magnesium is there's like 25 different kinds of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I myself take L-theanine, which I really love, and I take it with my vitamin D because it helps increase my vitamin D absorption, so my vitamin D levels get higher faster.
Okay.
Beware, ladies, magnesium citrate has a great use, but it's not exactly what we're talking about for this. So I'm not sure what magnesium you use, but I do really like L-theanate. And then the omegas are just so important in terms of heart health. And we just don't eat enough cold water fish. I had sardines in my salad last night, but I am unique. So I'm aware of that. And if you're not eating a lot of cold water fish and can't afford salmon, this taking omega-3 is really important. And I say this because 98% of us are deficient in omega-3. 90% of us are deficient in vitamin D. And anywhere from 50 to 80% of us are deficient in magnesium.
How can people tell which supplements are trustworthy?
Yes, because that's a really big challenge. I mean, I can walk into a big box store and there'll be 1,000 different bottles on the shelf, not to mention when you go online. And they're not all created equal by any stretch of the imagination, and not everyone obeys the law. So there are a few things you can look for, and one everyone's really familiar with is USDA organic. Yes, you will pay a little bit more for that, but you know that those ingredients have all been sourced from really high quality agricultural practices that protect your health. So that's one. The butterfly, the non-GMO project. So when we go buy a bag of snacks, it seems to always have the butterfly on it. It means there's no glyphosate in it. You can also find that butterfly in the non-GMO project on supplement bottles. So don't overlook that. And know that every supplement has required to have the manufacturer's name and contact on the bottle. This will get checked. You don't have to put your glasses on to read it. And that's important, along with the fact that if it has an NSF logo, which is blue and round, I know that they have a series of standards that they make all of their companies go through before that seal goes on the bottle. And we work closely with them. So those are good tips that'll probably take about 70 to 80% of your problems off the shelf. And if they say that they treat or cure a disease, don't pick them up.
Okay.
It's against the law. And you will, especially online or late night television, you'll see things that look like they're going to cure something. Nope, they
Uh,
can't do that.
that's interesting. Yeah, that's a great tip right there. Now, how can families approach self-care responsibly on a tighter budget?
I think that if you think at it from a familial perspective, and it's harder, I think, for people who live by themselves because you just get into your routine and some families. But I do think that being able to do these kinds of things together to learn things like if you love dark chocolate, I'm not talking about milk chocolate, but
Hmm.
if you love dark chocolate, you can teach the kids why it's good for you and the antioxidants that it has in it, how it's also a source of magnesium. So you can actually kind of educate each other and use it in meal planning. How are we going to get all our veggies? Used to be we had to have whatever it was, 6 to 10 serving vegetables a day. I think having a family conversation about why we take these things and how we can learn more is a really good example. And it sets a great example for the kids and the in-laws to say, we're having this for dinner because. So I like that concept. I'm a little biased towards food because I love to cook. Not everybody does.
Hmm. What role does lifestyle play in preventing long-term health problems when access to care is limited?
It's a big component of it. There's been enough stress in the world for the last several years to serve many more lifetimes. And so whether you're drinking coffee at night all day long, whether you're consuming alcohol, and all of these things impact your sleep, which is probably one of the most important things you can do for yourself.
Hmm.
And being able to get that good night's sleep is super important. And that doesn't mean going to bed with the TV on at midnight and getting up at 6 o'clock to go to work, right? So plan your rituals and your routines around that accordingly, and you'll find yourself more successful at sleep. And I think that getting outside, I'm a big proponent of connection to the earth. It's the right time of year to be out walking. And I think just that fresh, it's just all the basics. Back in the old days, think about the time when we didn't have
Mm.
all the air conditioning and everything. And it's really important. I feel very fortunate to live right now across the street from woods. So not everybody has that luxury. I have
Hmm.
friends in New York City, but you can get out and you can get that fresh air and that sunshine, and you'll find that your stress levels can go down.
Do you have any rituals that you do or that you like and can recommend for a sleep routine?
I'm pretty religious about my sleep routine. Normally, I'm a boot camper, so I'm up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I am in bed before 9:30. I turn everything off. I have a routine about how I go into bed. I don't even read. I hang out with my dog for a little bit, and then I just do deep breathing when I get into my bed. I'm big also on breathing techniques. What's this deep?
Well, I do that also. Another thing I started doing because I was waking up in the middle of the night and just being awake for hours, like all the stress popped back out in the middle of the night. And this is going to lead me to another question. So I asked ChatGPT, what can I do? And it's like, here's this routine and don't write it on your phone, write your worries on pencil and paper, and then physically write out, I'm parking these for the night and my brain doesn't need to work on them. And that's actually been pretty helpful.
What a great strategy to use. That's wonderful.
Yeah, it's saved my life lately because I do have some sleep problems. But speaking of ChatGPT, tell us how to not get our health advice from there and where else we should look when we're confused about everything.
Oh, goodness gracious. Yeah, I love ChatGPT. Don't get me wrong. I use
Yeah.
it all the time too. We all do, but I'm very particular. I know I like to catch it when it's wrong. So it's become a game for me, especially in my own world and industry, see how much it knows. So I think you have to approach ChatGPT like that. Like I'm going to test it, find out that it does make mistakes, and then you'll quit relying on it.
Yeah, yeah.
I think one thing that we can point people to is nutrientpower.org, which is a beautiful site that we created for consumers. And it really speaks to these three particular nutrients, magnesium, omega-3, and vitamin D. And it's interesting because we built it a few years back, but it's incredibly relevant and still current to this day. And the cool thing about it is we have a partner called Grassroots Health, and they're linked on there. So you can actually, if you don't want to get it done at your doctor's office, then you can ask for these levels to be measured, and they'll do it for you. But if you don't want to go, you can actually order your own test kit and test all three or just one.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, and they'll send you the packet. It's a blood prick, and you send it back, and they'll give you your levels. And they're an amazing group. They've done amazing work, especially around D, but they're doing all three of these now. Cool.
That's great. If you do get a regular blood panel and maybe your insurance covers it, those things are extra. So this would be, I'm sure there's a cost, but still it's a way to have more control over it.
And oftentimes people, especially practitioners who aren't well educated in supplementation,
Mm-hmm.
will tell you that your levels are fine when the data shows that no, it's too low. People don't stay out in the sun anymore, and you got to have. They go out in the morning. I'm like, you're not getting any vitamin D in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of misinformation that's still out there, and this website really helps with that.
That's a great resource. I appreciate that. So, for listeners who feel stressed about rising costs and staying healthy, what's your biggest reassurance right now?
That's just my father would say.
Oh,
This too shall pass. Today is one day, right? And it goes back to the book that we talked about before, which is Upset is Optional. Every day is a new day, and do the best you can, and don't beat up on yourself.
that's a good point. And I did enjoy your book very much. So, I want to recommend that to the listeners out there. It's just very calming. And especially now, I mean, even from a year ago, you could read it again and have a whole new perspective.
Because we have a whole new set of problems that get people upset, and I use my practices every day.
Yeah, yeah. All right. Well, where can our audience learn more about your work with organic and natural health and get a copy of your book?
Well, you can get a copy of the book on Amazon, or you can go to upsetisoptional.com, which will take you to Amazon.
Okay.
So you can definitely get it there. It's short and it's easy to read. So I recommend that. I do really think nutrientpower.org is the one thing I want people to take away today. Our site is organicandnatural.org, but this one is really consumer facing, and it's a great resource. And I strongly encourage people to visit there.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you so much for coming on today and working it into your schedule and giving us these resources. I think that's really more important than ever right now.
It's the thing I'd love to do best, is to be able to help people finesse their way through to a better life.
Oh, well, thank you so much. I hope you have a great weekend.
You as well.
Once again, thank Karen Howard, author of Upset is Optional and proponent of responsible wellness, for coming in today, so to speak. And remember, you can find her at organicandnatural.org, and the sites she recommended was nutrientpower.org and Grassroots Health. So make sure you look for her and check out her book, Upset is Optional.